Opus, the show about some of the greatest works by some of the greatest people, anime.
Alex, are you a fool? Super Mario Bros, Shrek, and then anime? Who's this series for?
Wait, well, hold on, that was your first mistake. This series doesn't make sense.
So, I feel equipped to talk about anime because in the time I've been game reviewing, Know You're Moving, Emperor's New Grooving, in that time, I went from buttered noodle tier to owner of Tusk.
It's much worse if you get it.
So, I'm going to recommend an anime. One single 64 episode slobber knocker. Something you could start today and finish in a week. One single anime that will lay the bedrock for you for all future anime you watch. Something that is a great entry point for any fan of any type of show to see why people like anime so much. So here is my video essay on LoveLive! So here's my angle, okay? FullMetal Alchemist Brotherhood is the perfect anime for people who don't watch anime. If it's the only anime you watch, it's a pretty good one to watch, and it may make you want to watch more anime and lead into new topics and different genres, because this one, it's all-encompassing.
So how do I prove that?
FullMetal Alchemist is a shonen manga written by Hiromu Arakawa. Half of that sentence is in another language. I really don't want to come off as holier than thou, but in my time doing content online, I've learned a few things, and one of them is, even if you think something is well known in the online space, to a lot of people, it may just be the first time they're encountering it, and that experience, when you have people who talk like this, it can be a little bit overwhelming. The truth is, anime is still pretty alien to a lot of people. But Goku's an alien, so that doesn't make it a bad thing, it's more like a 7 out of 10 thing. So I'm really coming at this like, what if you've never heard of manga before? What if you think that's just a fruit? Everyone's a beginner at some point, and that comes with inexperience. Like, I just started getting into avocados, and I still have trouble spitting out the pits. So, FullMetal Alchemist is the name of this series. First written in 2001, all the way to 2010, with, in that time, being 2 anime adaptations. The one you want to watch is Brotherhood. This one came out before it, and there are good parts to it, but it's sort of like Game of Thrones, where the first bit of it is actually pretty good until they stopped following the lore and fucked it all up! So, watch this one. I'm not sorry if you don't. Next, it's a shonen manga aimed at young males. What is manga? So the reason anime is so much different than the cartoons we have here is because of the manga industry in Japan. That's an entire history lesson, but in a nutshell. Basically, imagine comics, but actually really popular.
You've taken quite a liking to it.
The manga industry releases publications of manga on a weekly schedule, meaning you have readers who are picking up the issues of each, and you can gauge who's reading each manga so you can choose what to adapt. And because you have a manga to start from, you don't have to come up with like character concepts or storyboards, you have all the ideas right there. So back to shonen, it's basically battle manga targeted at young boys, which explains why so many grown men like it. Finally, the biggest difference with FullMetal Alchemist is its author, Hiromu Arakawa. In a sea of long-running shonen, Arakawa made a series that balanced darker, more relatable dramatic elements while keeping the balance of what people tuned in for a shonen for. And it wasn't just the fact that she was a woman in a male-dominated space, it was the fact she brought so many different topics and philosophies into the shonen genre that have changed it forever. We've got the impact of war, military states, revenge, nationalism, race, faith versus... What? Aimed at young boys? You remember that episode of SpongeBob where they talked about militarism and bikini bottom? Because I sure don't. And this was only one sentence. You go read a little bit more, and it says how this is often regarded as one of the best anime of all time.
And that's not just me saying that.
So, why? Time for one of my world-famous plot rehashes! Meet Edgar Meet Edward Meet Edward Elric and Edward and Alphonse Elric. He is the FullMetal Elk, not him.
No. I'm his younger brother, Alphonse.
But he's a runt.
Oh yeah, can a runt do this?
They live with their mother in the countryside of the not European state of Amestris. Everything is great. Oh. But there's hope. For in this world, there is a power, a science, known as alchemy. It's based in the law of equivalent exchange. So you must gather your ingredients, make a circle on the ground, dot two I's, and wait, and with the power of alchemy, these Jimmy Neutron boy geniuses think they can bring their mother back. So they get in contact with their buddy Walter White.
Jesse, get the ingredients. We're gonna transmute a human.
Hey, but Mr. White, what could have the value of a human soul? Bitch. After all, humans are just a makeup of different chemicals.
Hi there. Do you want to know, like, everything?
What? Wow. The power to know everything. That must have cost an arm and a leg. An arm and a leg.
I always wanted to!
So there's only one little fudge-coated rule in all of alchemy. Do not try and make a people. The cost of transgressing made Ed lose his arm and leg, and Alphonse, he lost his body. The journey of the show follows Ed and Al on a quest to do the impossible. Get their bodies back with no clue how to do so. The only hint they have is a powerful alchemical item called the Philosopher's Stone. And there's a dog! Wait, I have to explain? I think anime fans can sort of have tunnel vision. You have to think about how even the most basic anime is still whiplash for a normal person.
I'll take a potato chip and eat it.
Friends is the bar. That's our bar, people. So I'm in two camps. While I think people shouldn't judge a genre based exclusively on how it looks, I also understand being turned off by...
You can go ahead and touch me if you want. I don't really get it, but you can touch me as much as you want.
I have seen this exchange happen so many times with non-anime fans. Hey, you should try anime. They sit on the floor to eat! The viral weird stuff is usually only what non-anime fans see, and their impression is, this isn't better than a Rick and Morty. A lot of the...
Say no!
Well, I think that's circumvented in FullMetal Alchemist because Arakawa... Whoa, what is that? What is that? And a lot of our own personal perspectives about life and philosophy, they're embedded into this, and every character shines. Nobody feels like they are made specifically to fill a trope to attract a certain audience. Except...
Behavior is most suspicious!
I'm okay with this. Also, something I don't see that's brought up is this doesn't take place in Japan. It's just as much a fictional world to them as it is to us. So you don't need to have prior knowledge about phrases or customs to understand what's going on in the show. And I think that's important because you could watch this anime, not know it's from another country, and still enjoy it. And because it doesn't fit so snugly in the shonen genre, and it doesn't rely on tropes to tell its story, it bounces between so many different elements. So you know, I said alchemy is the pretty important part of this story. I like when there is a problem that characters have to solve, and they get pieces of the equation over the course of the story. So, at some point you're like, whoa, it's a thing, whoa! But, anime likes to change up the rules at any given point. 2 equals 3, 3 equals 7 if it's blue, but if it's green, it equals 1, and 1, don't even get me started, it got useless after the first arc. The battles in this anime may not be as over the top, but what's better?
A medium amount of good
Battles!
or all you can eat, a pretty good
Battle!
a medium amount of good.
Battles!
It doesn't feel like they're adding new rules willy-nilly. It feels like as the characters discover more about this world, you do too. I'm not trying to spoil this, but there is a huge mystery with the whole story of this world, and it's extremely compelling. But the best part about the whole story and the
Battles!
is the consistent power system! Like I mentioned, there's a heavy focus on alchemy and how it affects the characters in the world, whether that be through faith versus science or how it's used for the military. It seems every character you encounter in this story has a different viewpoint based on the experiences they had with this world's alchemy, which means this world is only as strong as the characters in it. Huge casts run into the problem of characters becoming one note or only useful for the completion of one task. Some characters have as much character development as Boggy the Polar Bear in Banjo-Kazooie. Even other anime I like, supporting characters just sometimes fill background roles. And in other cases, it's like Oscar Martinez in The Office, where he's only used when Michael has money problems. Otherwise, he's just the butt of a joke. What kind of world building is this? But in this anime, everyone is so well characterized that you can understand their motives and why they do what they do, both good and evil. I think the characters are so strong because the theme of the story, and it's in the title, the Elric brothers' quest leads them to meet many people who have went through different struggles because of this war-torn world. And the growth of them as characters is amplified by who they meet. And I just love this cast so much. There are characters you think are gonna show up for one episode, and it turns out they stay with the main characters for the entire run. And between this, the great fights, the heartfelt moments, there's one other reason I think it's perfect for beginners. I think my worst quality is starting a new show, chickening out, and then turning on The Office. Well, I have good news. This series is done. It's completed, and it's not going to be added upon. Every story thread is tied up. Everything has an intended purpose that goes from beginning to end. It feels like a full product, and I know that doesn't seem like much, but you know what's underrated? Things ending. So that's it. Genuinely, this is my favorite anime. I just think it's one of the most well-crafted stories, and it definitely hit me hard.
5. I give you 5 episodes before you're crying your eyes out.
It's got an amazing story that just makes you wonder so much. Great characters, a great world, and a lot of emotional moments. And there's a dog!
So please, I will never recommend you an anime again if you just watch FullMetal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's my promise. But like, it's actually really quick to get through. To put in perspective, I watched it and Breaking Bad around the same time. I got through this quicker.
Yo, Mr. White, with a Philosopher's Stone, we could have an infinite amount of Funyuns. Infinite Funyuns, Mr. White.
Jesse, do you even have an iota of understanding about the live equivalent exchange?